Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
Yes! I feel like I've been waiting for this my entire life.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Jolly good fun. Jolly good.
Locking down the middle of the day.
America's favorite daytime fun show.
Live from the Raising Cane's studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Hour 2, Tuesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Immense Networks Cloud IT Management. Hope to see you out tonight at Court to Table. We'll be there for sports trivia, 8 o'clock on Burbank. Always a great time. We'll be hanging out. You can win gift cards. You can eat their great food. They have really, really good food at Court to Table. They got great drinks as well. It's always fun. So if you're by yourself and want to come out at 8 o'clock, you can come. If you've got a team, come on and do that. We'll have you out of there by 9:15, 9:20, so not a late affair there at Court to Table. Every single Tuesday, we are there for sports trivia. We'll kick off hour number 2 with a piece on The Athletic that I find to be very, very fascinating, because this is not something that just was written by a staff writer or a beat writer or an insider at The Athletic. This is a poll that includes 50 executives and coaches in the National Football League, and they rank the quarterbacks. And so they send out these starters, and they get the information back from 50 executives and coaches in the league, and they rank the quarterbacks. And it's an objective ranking. Now, it's subjective in the sense that it's the opinion of those, but they put numbers to it. And they've got 4 tiers. Tier 1 means that you carry the team every week. The team wins because of you. You expertly handle pure passing situations, no real holes in your game. That is tier 1. Tier 2 carries the team sometimes, handles pure passing situations in doses, has other dimensions that elevate him above tier 3, and maybe has a hole or two in his game. That's tier 2. Tier 3 is a legit starter, but needs a running game or a defense to help if you're going to win games. Lower volume drop back passing suits these players the best in tier 3. And then you've got tier 4, which is an unproven player, meaning not enough information, or a veteran who ideally would not be a full season starter. These are your tiers of quarterbacks. And so when you look at tier 1, this is the elite of the elite. Patrick Mahomes is still number 1 on this list. Right behind him, well, it's a tie, but they put number 2 on him, Josh Allen. Those two garnered a ton of the votes. Matthew Stafford is right there as well. And then you've got Joe Burrow in that 4 spot in the elite tier. That's it. That's your top tier. Burrow, Stafford, Allen, Mahomes. These are the creme de la creme, okay? You go into tier 2, and this is based on these rankings where you can still achieve as a team with the tier 2 quarterback. Now, you might say, how is Lamar Jackson not in tier 1? I might argue on your side of that. I think he probably should be tier number 1, but he is in tier number 2 at 5th overall. Justin Herbert is in there. Dak Prescott is in there. Drake May is in there. Jared Goff is in there. Jordan Love is in there. Brock Purdy is in there. Caleb Williams is in there. He moved in last year. Jaden Daniels moved in there. Baker Mayfield is in there. Sam Darnold is in there. You have gone through half the league now as Trevor Lawrence is in there with Jalen Hurts as well. That's tier 2. Half the NFL is in tiers 1 and 2. And I think you would argue if you have a good team, not just an all-world roster, but a really good team, I think all those guys can elevate you toward a Super Bowl. You want to push back on Trevor Lawrence? Okay, he was an MVP finalist last year. You want to push back on Caleb Williams? The Bears were a 10-win football team last year. You want to push back on Brock Purdy? Well, they were making it deep in the playoffs before he got hurt. Maybe you can push back on Dak Prescott. His numbers are really good. I don't have a huge problem with any of the guys in this list. The question is, now that we've gone through the top 2 tiers, and I don't think anybody, even Saints fans, would not expect that NFL executives and coaches would immediately toss Tyler Shuck into a group that includes some of those guys, Jared Goff and Lamar Jackson. I mean, that's that tier. And I don't think anybody's under the illusions that Tyler Shuck is in that group, right? But is he in tier 3, legit starter, needs a running game or a defense to win, lower volume drop back passing, or need more information? I was curious about this once I read what the tiers are. And it turns out that in tier 3, with Bo Nix, Aaron Rodgers, C.J. Stroud, Daniel Jones, Bryce Young, and Kyler Murray with Jackson Dart, is Tyler Shuck. Now, he's ranked 26th here. So it's not like they're throwing flowers all over the place. But Shuck is considered a guy who you can win with. They don't need more information, is what they're telling you, because in tier 4, you need more information. Tier 4's got Malik Willis in it. And he may be the only one that's incomplete. Yeah, and Michael Penix. Michael Penix, and they threw Jacoby Brissett in there too, but Jacoby Brissett is in there with Deshaun Watson and Geno Smith as guys that you would prefer not be your starter. But I thought that was good that Tyler Shuck was involved in a tier that people believe you can win with. The panelists voted 4 votes for tier 2, which means can win you some games, which I would argue it's reasonable to suggest, not against Seattle, not against the Rams, not against the Bills, not against the elite of the NFL, but against some of the lesser teams in the NFL. I would argue Tyler Shuck kind of elevated you to wins last year in some instances. Yeah, it's against a team in Atlanta that didn't make the playoffs. Yeah, you beat the Giants, but he did do some things late in games last year that lifted a Saints team with no receivers left, banged up running backs, a terrible offensive line. He did some things to elevate that team to win. So 4 votes had him in tier 2, 21 had him in tier 3, and there were 25, so half of the votes had him in tier 4, and certainly that was meaning we need more information. That's the Michael Penix crew. That's the Malik Willis crew. But the point being, there's some respect for Shuck around the league. That's one thing. The second thing is, for the Saints to get this thing moving in the direction it needs to be moving, he's got to be in tier 2 next year. You need to convince the league that you're a quarterback you can win with. You don't have to barge into the discussion with Burrow and Allen and Mahomes and Stafford. That's not a realistic expectation for Tyler Shuck in his first full year as a starter. I don't need that. What I need is to get to tier 2. I need more than half of these executives to look at Tyler Shuck and go, that's a guy you can win anything you want to win with. Because Jalen Hurts isn't in tier 1, and that's a guy that won a Super Bowl. Sam Darnold's not in tier 1. That's a guy that won a Super Bowl. There are guys in tier 2 that you can get all the way with. Lamar Jackson's in there. It would be hard to argue you couldn't get there with him, even though he hasn't been awesome in the playoffs. Jared Goff has been awesome, played in a Super Bowl. He's in tier 2. That's where Tyler Shuck needs to be. That's where he needs to be. And I think it's reasonable to suggest he can. And once you get him to that spot, the group around him needs to elevate, and that's how you get a team that can compete. Seattle just did it. Now we'll see if they can do it again with a monster cap hit on Sam Darnold. Instead of $13 million he was making last year, it's up over $32 million this year. It's hard, but you get a window, you can do it. That's what Tyler Shuck's got to do. He's got to climb into tier 2 and play at a level commiserate with Brock Purdy and Trevor Lawrence and Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield and Jaden Daniels, Caleb Williams. It's not an astronomical level. I don't think anybody's here to tell you that Caleb Williams was knocking on the MVP door last year, but they won the division. So that's what you're looking for. And this is not, some beat writers talking. These are executives and coaches in the league. That's part of this deal. The rookie draft class from this year, the second-year players that they drafted, and Tyler Shuck, part of that second-year class, need to elevate this year. If they do that, then you can really feel like this time next year you've got a shot to make a move. Maybe you do this year, but that might be unrealistic. but there are a lot of people with some confidence that Tyler Shuck is that dude in these. So you can check that out at The Athletic. Cool ranking there for those players, and I think a little bit of respect for Tyler Shuck. You feeling like Shuck gets some respect in the league?
I think not yet. I do think he's got a good PR around him right now. So a lot of people are, I'm starting to see a lot of people on the Saints bandwagon right now. You're starting to see a lot of people say, "Oh, the Saints are the breakout team for next year." So we're getting a lot of love, but he's got to go out there and prove it. I was looking at the list, and the main thing I saw where they talked about prove was Jaden Daniels. Like, you got to go out there and prove it. Like, he's got to go out there and reprove it. So that's kind of how I feel about Tyler Shuck. We got that small little sample size. You got a little appetizer, but now it's time for the main course. Can we actually get the main dish of Tyler Shuck this year? So if he can go out there and do that and bump up into this tier, because you're looking at it, a lot of these guys, he can be in these conversations. Like, these aren't like some astronomical figures that Tyler Shuck has to live up to. Like, you can't tell me Tyler Shuck can't be Brock Purdy.
Here are the guys that moved up from tier 3 to tier 2. This exact thing we're talking about, these are the guys that did it last year. Drake May, Caleb Williams, Sam Darnold, Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
There's no reason to suggest Tyler Shuck can't do what Drake May, Caleb Williams, Sam Darnold, and Trevor Lawrence did.
And maybe even better. Even better. So it does take a team. It's not just a one-man army. It's going to take everybody else. We're going to need a lot of help on our side. Hopefully our O-line can stay together. Hopefully receivers can stay intact. But if we have a little bit of help on our side, there's no way Shuck doesn't make that jump into that tier.
Gotta hope. We shall see. Tuesday show is brought to you by Immense Networks Cloud IT Management. When we come back, I teased this in the first hour. I want to talk about why me and some of the other media members got things wrong last year when watching this team in fall camp, because I got that question in the mailbag. We'll also get into 3 freshmen that I'm going to watch coming up tomorrow when we get out there. So we'll get into all that when we come back.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Boudreaux's Electrical Services. Boudreaux's Electrical Services. Neil and Melissa have been running Boudreaux's Electrical for 40 years. If you don't have a Generac home standby generator, then you don't have the peace of mind of knowing that you're protected from power outages. And we know afternoon storms come through here that knock it out for 3 hours, and we know that hurricanes are always, generally speaking, around the corner. Been a quiet early hurricane season this year. I like that. I hope it stays that way. But we know that there's always that risk. So get a Generac home standby generator installed before the storm comes through from the folks at Boudreaux's Electrical Services. 985-397-1562. That's 985-397-1562 or 225-300-9389. It's Boudreaux's Electrical Services. They monitor your generator 24/7 and have a local team ready to come out and service that mechanical issue if one arises, so that your Generac home standby generator is ready to go. Check them out online, boudreauxelectrical.com.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Remind you about First American Bank and Trust, FABT.com, FABT.com. That's First American Bank and Trust. Look, they've been at this 116 years, y'all. They started up in 1910, and they've grown to 25 locations throughout Southeast Louisiana. If you are looking for a bank, looking for one that has a community feel, but the resources to do the things that you need from a commercial lending or a personal lending perspective, First American Bank and Trust is the option. It's the option. That's why they've been here for 116 years in Southeast Louisiana. Don't think small, but think community. When you call First American Bank and Trust, you get a local answer. When you apply for a loan with First American Bank and Trust, the decision is made locally, not nationally, not in San Francisco or Atlanta. It's made right here in Southeast Louisiana by First American Bank and Trust. If you're in St. Tammany or Tangipahoa Parish, and maybe down the bayou in St. John, Lafourche, Terrebonne, or maybe you're in Dutchtown, Jones Creek, or maybe you're over in Metairie. First American Bank and Trust, there's a branch near you. Check them out online at FABT.com. If you have been reading over the last 24 hours and seen the words private equity tossed around with LSU, I highly, highly, highly recommend you go to LouisianaSports.net right now. Matt Moscona has spoken with multiple people who were involved in Dr. Wade Roos's meeting at the Governor Mansion last night, and he's got a story up at LouisianaSports.net that spells out some details of what was going on. Not everything, but there is a story up right now that has some details, including refuting the report that it's just a traditional private equity model. So go check that out. Matt's done a great job, and I'm confident that you'll hear a lot about that on After Further Review today. I did not speak with the people that were there at the meeting last night. Matt did, so I wrote the story, and he'll talk about it. So I can't go any further into that. But I just wanted to mention that when there's a new audience kind of shifting in. I talked about it in hour number 1 and about 20 minutes ago. I wanted to go ahead and refresh that for those that have just hopped in the car and may want to check that out. But to transition back to LSU football, I got asked a question in the mailbag today at LouisianaSports.net. Like, why did you and so many media guys hype up the team last fall only to watch them lose 6 games and fire the coach? I thought that's a reasonable question. I'm never afraid to be wrong up here. That's just part of the gig when you do 20 hours and you write 20 stories a week. Like, it is what it is. You're going to be wrong. And I don't have any pride. I don't have any ego. I don't mind when people call me out on being wrong. It's just like, it's just part of the gig. I'll give my next prediction. And I hope that one's right if it's positive. But I gave a lot of thought to last year in the fall. And I gave a lot of thought to last fall with baseball and preseason with baseball, because I didn't tell you they were going 9-21 in baseball. And I certainly didn't tell you they were going to be bad last year on offense at LSU. What I've taken from my years of watching fall camp is if you see one side of the ball controlling the practices that you're going to, that appears to be a problem. The 2023 offense just schooled the defense the entire fall camp we were out there. Jaden, Malik, Brian Thomas Jr., they just cooked that defense. And it turns out that was a historic offense, a terrible defense, wasn't a good enough team. Last year, they could not run the ball. Couldn't run the ball. They hit some busted plays, but they couldn't run the ball, and they couldn't really block. Bernard Gooden was in the backfield every play. They could not block Bernard Gooden. And that wasn't because he was an All-American player. It wasn't because he was a first-round pick. It was because their offensive line was bad. And Nussmeier was rushed a lot, and the pocket collapsed a lot. And we just, as a group, as you often do this time of year, said, well, maybe the defensive line is just really good. Because it's optimism season. It's time to be optimistic. I'm telling you, I heard from probably multiple head coaches in Tampa 2 weeks ago that will go 1-8 in this league that were telling me how good they feel about their football team. Because somebody's going 1-8, and nobody got up there and said, "Yeah, we're not very good. So just bet the under on us this year." It's optimism time. August breeds optimism. NFL, college football, optimism. Everybody thinks they've got a shot to be better than the outside world thinks they're going to be, and that seeps in. There's an element of this that we don't want to go to practice and then come out here and report on it and go, guys, this team stinks. We don't want to do that. And I don't think anybody thought that last year, but the signs were there that they weren't blocking well enough. And they were awful on the offensive line. So what I have taken from this is that you need to see punches and counter punches daily out there. If one side is overwhelming, it's probably not because you've got a generational side of the football. It's probably because one of the other side of the football is not holding up its end of the bargain. Because it's a lot easier to field a substandard unit than it is to field a generational unit. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of what I've taken from it. I don't know if that's right or wrong, but I've thought about it. I do take a little bit of pride in feeling like I need to be able to watch what I'm seeing and relay it to y'all reasonably. It's going to be through purple and gold colored glasses to an extent, not ridiculously, to an extent, but it needs to be reasonably correct. We're all going to miss from time to time, but I take that seriously. Like, I understand that when I come on here the Monday after they play a game, we've all watched the same thing, and you all kind of have the same kind of take. I understand that in August, we're your eyes, we're your ears. We're supposed to be the ones out there giving you a reasonable take. You're not asking for us to be NFL general managers. You're not asking us to be, the Senior Bowl CEO or a head scout for the Raiders. You're asking us to go out there and give a reasonable opinion on what you've seen. And it's not great when you go out there and say, yeah, this is an 11-1 football team, which I said 10-2, and they go out there and fall flat and get their butts kicked by Vanderbilt, and you fire your coach and lose 6 games. So I've shifted the way I'll watch things a little bit. I've got more perspective. Annually, you just get a little bit more. I'm not telling you I'm going to get this thing completely right, but I am telling you that I appreciate the question, and I understand there's a little bit of accountability that goes into it to an extent. If I knew what their record was going to be, I'd just go to Vegas and bet huge and quit. Like, I'm never going to know. But it's been eye-opening to predict one thing and to have them come up as short as they have. So just a thought on preseason practice. Now, I went over, and I'll do this fairly quickly, 3 freshmen that I'll be looking for tomorrow when we get out there for 3 different reasons. First is Deuce Gerald. I talked about him a ton. And I believe that Deuce Gerald is going to start against Clemson. He would have to pass up most of, outside of one player, Dominic McKinley, Malik Blockton, and Stephylan Green, as well as like Sean Washington and Richard Anderson and some. But he would have to beat all those guys out but one, who he starts next to. And because of the first team reps he got in the spring, I think he's got a real chance to be the starting defensive tackle. Now, he is undersized for that. You're talking about a guy that's around 270 pounds. Playing in the in defensive line interior, that's small by SEC standards. But he's elusive, he's quick, he knows how to play, he comes from a football family, and he was really disruptive in the spring when we got to watch him. I think he is going to be a great player at LSU, and I think I know he's going to play in the first half against Clemson. I'm so confident in that. I think he's going to start the game. We'll see. But that's one guy I'll be watching tomorrow and in camp. Number 2 is Lamar Brown. Now, probably not for the exact same reason that you think. Lamar Brown was the number 1 recruit in the country. And when you think about that, you toss him in there with Jadeveon Clowney. You toss him in there with Leonard Fournette. You toss him in there with Patrick Peterson. You toss him in there with Derek Stingley Jr. That's the company that he keeps in your head in Baton Rouge. And all those guys had monster freshman seasons. Stingley was the best cover corner on the best team we've ever seen. Fournette was an absolute monster after about 3 games. Patrick Peterson was ready to play physically when he got here. Like, you've seen these guys, and they happen a lot. I don't know that I'm putting Lamar Brown quite in that category because I feel like he's gotten that number 1 ranking based on his physical attributes, meaning size and athleticism, not necessarily his ability to play technically sound football right now. Keep in mind, he's played on the offensive line, he's played on the defensive line, he's played interior defensive line, he's played on the edge. He's done a lot of different things. He hasn't specialized on one thing, and that's what he will do at LSU on the defensive edge. And you've got Jordan Ross, and you've got Prince William, who are your projected starters, and you've got some guys who are 3 years older than Lamar Brown that are in this program that I think are going to be more advanced than he is today. And I don't think he's going to be a key factor against Clemson. I think he could grow into that because he's got such crazy athleticism. He already looks the part. He's 295 pounds. But I'm going to be watching to see where he lines up and where he is in the rotation. Because keep in mind, he didn't go through spring ball. Richard Anderson did. Deuce Gerald's did. And Lamar Brown didn't. He was still in high school. So tomorrow is his first practice at LSU. I'm just not sure in 4 weeks' time he's going to be ready to go up there and play meaningful snaps against Clemson. That's just my feeling on it. But I'm going to be watching. I think it's fascinating, and I want to see what he looks like out there, especially when they put the pads on first thing next week. I'm curious to see how that looks. And the last freshman I'm going to look at is probably not going to get a lot of headlines and may not play much at all this year, but he might. It's Haven Finney. Because Haven Finney comes into a thin position group at LSU. Cornerback, LSU is dangerously thin. Aiden Andy goes down. You look up. You've got, really good first 2 with DJ Pickett, PJ Woodland. Jakeem Jackson's probably next up. Then you've got like Michael Turner, who weighs 160 pounds, and Aiden Anding, who is very, very young as a reclassified freshman. I want to see if Haven Finney's put on a little bit of weight because he was already 6'1", already 170 pounds. Can he get up to 175, 180? I don't know. But he's not going to be in the mix immediately. But if you do have an injury at corner, which happens, these guys are changing directions on a dime. They're running stride for stride with wide receivers. Feet get tangled up. Like, you guys get hurt. He may be next up. It might be Michael Turner, but it might be Haven Finney. This is a guy that Corey Raymond identified out of Southern California as the guy next to Pickett that he wanted to pick up in the following class. And he did. And he's got that length. He's got that range. He's got that pedigree. But he reclassified. He's young. But you may not have a lot of development time if you got an injury at maybe the most thin position on your roster. So I want to see if Finney's put on a little bit of weight. I want to see where he's going through drills. I want to see what Corey Raymond says to him when he goes through drills, because that's a guy that I think could be a factor for this LSU team. But maybe if you stay healthy, you don't have to with Pickett and Woodland and Jackson, and then in the safety spots, Deshaun Spears, TaMarcus Cooley, Ty Benefield. That might be enough secondary bodies, but you never know. And I'll be watching Haven Finney. So those three guys, Deuce Gerald, who I think is a starter, Lamar Brown, who I don't think is a starter right now, but I think is interesting to see where he develops and where he plays. And then Haven Finney, what kind of depth can he add as a young player? I'm fascinated by that for sure. So let's look at LSU fall practice. We'll see the Tigers just after 10 o'clock tomorrow. We'll certainly be talking about it on tomorrow's show. Take a time out. 30 minutes to go. Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Swing Easy Golf Club in Baton Rouge. SwingEasyGCBR.com. SwingEasyGCBR.com. Get on by and make a day of it at Swing Easy Golf Club. You can bring some friends, go by yourself, crank up the tunes, drink a cold beer, comfortable seating, got a television, and oh, by the way, that golf simulator, which is a ton of fun. You can fire up tons of your favorite courses from around the world. The old course at St. Andrews, you can play Carnoustie over there. You can play Troon, all the U.S. Open, the British Open Rota you can play. Cypress Point, Pebble Beach, TPC Sawgrass, all there on that simulator, and it's so much fun. You can card a score. You hit your tee shots, you hit your second shots, you hit chips, putts. You can play against a friend, match play. You can play by yourself, take as many mulligans as you want. It's always a great, great time. Go by and just have some fun playing golf at Swing Easy. If you've never played simulator golf, go see it. They're on Segan at Perkins, the Swing Easy Golf Club, online at swingeasygcbr.com.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
The Highland Insurance Group is online at highlandig.com, highlandig.com. Jonathan Carbo and his team, they're first class over at the Highland Insurance Group. First class people. I've been in the insurance game, you'll know, for 7 years, and I met a lot of people in it, and the Highland Insurance Group does it the right way. They take care of their clients. They understand insurance, the risks here in Southeast Louisiana, and they take care of you. And they do that from a benefits perspective as well. It can be expensive. It can be cost prohibitive to offer the benefits that you know that your employees need. That health care for their families, that dental, vision. And if you feel like you're getting squeezed with your health care insurer, contact the Howard Insurance Group. Get a second opinion. They're the independent broker, means they've got contracts with different carriers, and they can give you a second option. If you had a bad renewal, you've got one coming up that you're fearing, contact Jonathan Carbo and the Howard Insurance Group and say, hey, I'd love to talk about benefits. We're just getting crushed here. And he'll have that conversation with you. He's done it with dozens of clients around South Louisiana, and he can do it for you as well. It's the Howard Insurance Group. They're online at highlandig.com. All right, let's go back to Saints. Some sound. Saints are off today, by the way, but also a lot of sound coming out of Saints camp, and love to get the perspective of a lot of guys. And I have talked about this player on multiple occasions throughout the back end of the summer because I just feel he's so vital to what the Saints are trying to do. And we've seen that when he's gone out the last couple of years. It's Eric McCoy right there at the center position. And if the Saints are going to achieve this year, if their offensive line is going to do the things that we think it can do if healthy, then Eric McCoy is right in the middle of that and maybe the most important piece. And he's got to be healthier than he has been the last 2 years. What about his confidence, about his health? Like, if you miss big chunks of 2 seasons, it's physically taxing, but it's mentally taxing as well.
I don't think my confidence ever wavered. I trust my process. I trust my plan. And I think we've implemented a few extra things in the weight room to kind of supplement, but my confidence never wavered in who I am as a player, who I am as a person, and what I can do on the football field.
That sounds pretty convicted. It does. And so you wonder, like, what are you doing in the weight room that's trying to help you from getting these injuries that keep recurring over the course of the last couple of seasons?
More correctional work. So like things that I've had, surgeries on in the past or injuries in the past, just doing like even more supplemental work to strengthen, mobilize, activate, those types of things.
These are things that we talk to our friends over at Auction about all the time of trying to be preventative at the same time, trying to gain strength and make sure you're staying as healthy as possible. It's just a risky position to play. You got to snap the ball. Then you got 2 giants on your right and 2 giants on your left and 4 giants ramming into y'all every single snap. And your ankles are exposed, your knees are exposed, your fingers are exposed. It's just dangerous. And it's hard to stay healthy at those spots. But the Saints need Eric McCoy badly to rectify their running game, to keep their young quarterback upright, to make sure protections are correct, to just anchor the offensive line that beyond him is still fairly young. The guards are not, but the tackles obviously are. Last sound here from McCoy is about non-related injuries and not being limited this time around in camp.
Have you had any injuries that were either a recurrence or related to a previous injury, or have they all been somewhat separate?
Every single one has been separate.
Yeah. And so none of those are things that should limit you.
No.
Yeah.
Not at all. And I've got no fear. So
these are the right answers, and this is my thing. This may be so dumb, but it's just how I feel with 0 orthopedic training, 0 medical knowledge, 0 qualifications for this take. But I just don't believe that if you break an ankle or dislocate a shoulder or tear a hamstring and then do the other one the next year, that somehow means you're prone to injury. Like if you are Steph Curry's ankle, gotcha. Like that's a guy who's going to miss time with an ankle injury every year. He's prone to that. He's susceptible to that. His body responds that way. Like that is a guy who is quote unquote injury prone. It's the same thing that always happens. If you were a pitcher that has had 2 different Tommy John surgeries, like, yeah, your elbow and your delivery are obviously taxing your body in a way that is not holding up properly. But I just don't buy the injury-prone label if it's not recurring or not something that happens in the same vicinity over and over again. Greg Oden's feet, problem. No doubt. Concussions, absolutely. You can be prone to that. Chris Olave, right there in that same mix. But Eric McCoy's injuries are not the same. It's bad luck. I don't think he's an injury-prone player. I think he's a player that's gotten hurt the last 2 seasons. And that gives me the confidence that there's a chance he can stay healthy this year. And he feels that way. It doesn't sound like he's backing off. Sometimes when you miss that much time, the toughest thing to do is to come back mentally and commit to doing things that you would do because you're constantly in fear of when's my next season-ending injury. Doesn't feel like he's in that club whatsoever. In fact, just the opposite. He's saying, give me the ball. Let me get in the middle of this offensive line. Let me make things happen. He is such a vital piece to what the Saints are going to try to do this year. If he is there in the middle of that offensive line and playing at a Pro Bowl level, if your 2 tackles grow up a little bit and you got what you think you did at left guard, all of a sudden your offensive line goes from punchline, liability, joke, disaster to one of the strengths of the team. It's a strong leap to make, but he can be that good. He can be that good. And he's saying all the right things, doing all the right things. Let's just hope he stays upright, he stays healthy, and that my assertion in this instance is proven right that, hey, yeah, he got hurt the last 2 years. That doesn't mean this year that he's at a greater risk of getting injured. At least that's what I hope. That's Eric McCoy from New Orleans, their Pro Bowl caliber center. Chugging along here on a Tuesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Immense Networks Cloud IT Management. We will step aside, take a timeout, come back, close out the show next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Fabry Chevrolet GMC, FabryChevrolet.com. That's FabryChevrolet.com. Check out the website. So user-friendly. Depending on what you're looking for. Maybe it's an SUV for back to school. Maybe it's a truck. because you've never had one and feel like you need that. Maybe your truck lease is up and you're looking for a new one. You can search the entire inventory at Fabry Chevrolet GMC online at FabryChevrolet.com. That's FABRE.com, FabryChevrolet.com. And you can see their selection of Chevy Silverados and GMC Sierras on the truck side. Want new? Sort by new. Want pre-owned? Search by pre-owned. If you get to the pre-owned page and you want to search by price, mileage, plug them both in. You got sliding scales. You can do it right there. The entire inventory is right there. Start your process online and then go see them. Highway 61 in St. Francisville. Understand why they've been in business for 35 years in the Fabry family, because they take care of their clients. It's important to them that they do that. So if you're looking for a new SUV, new sedan, new truck, new school year, Fabry Chevrolet, online at FabryChevrolet.com.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Immense Networks Cloud IT Management, bring you our Tuesday shows. Can be a great partner for you when it comes to information technology. Look, if your IT department is overworked, you've got one person running desk to desk trying to put out fires left and right, that's no way to operate. And Immense doesn't want to come in and replace that person. Immense wants to come in and help. And what they do is twofold. One, they can help your business grow with the use of IT. It's not just fixing broken computers. They can help you get things done in your line of work by using IT as a partner of yours. And second, security. Cyber attacks are real and they are dangerous and scary. If you don't ever think about them, well, maybe one happens and you're not paying attention, and all of a sudden you haven't known someone's in the back end of your system for 4 months, and now you're compromised from your sensitive information in your servers to your employees' information to clients' information. Can be a problem. Immense monitors your system 24/7 proactively so that you can look up and feel protected. That's what Immense can do. And they're not going to lock you into long-term deals. Month to month with Immense, they will earn their relationship with you. They're based out of here in Baton Rouge, LSU guys. If you're a business of 50 to 100 people and you want some help from an IT perspective, go with Immense. They're online at immense.net. Immense Networks, Cloud IT Management, online at immense.net. All right, chugging along here on this Tuesday, I want to remind y'all that we will be at Court to Table tonight for sports trivia at 8 o'clock. Come on by at 8. We'll get things started, have you out of there by about 8:20. We'll have 5 rounds. You can win gift cards. You can win pickleball reservations. You can also eat their great food, great drinks. Got a ton of televisions on. Always a great time. And again, it's not an all hours of the night thing. 8 to about 9:15, and we got you out of there every single Tuesday. So come by and see us on Burbank at Court to Table. And then tomorrow, again, for those that are just catching up today, LSU starts fall camp tomorrow. Practice begins right about 10 o'clock. We will be permitted to watch the early portions of that practice. There will be a report up at louisianasports.net, and we will also have a full report in the first segment of tomorrow's show as well. So really excited to get out there and watch this team at 10 o'clock tomorrow. So we'll be looking forward to that. If you are curious about the goings-on at the Governor's Mansion last night and tomorrow, Matt Moscona's got a story up at louisianasports.net about Dr. Wade Roos's presentation to some influential boosters with LSU. It's not just a straight private equity deal. That may have been reported. That's been refuted, and Matt's got the story up, so go check that out for free at the homepage at louisianasports.net. One more order of business. Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it. Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
All right, so the most successful YouTuber in the world, Mr. Beast and Liquid Death. Yes, Liquid Death has teamed up with Mr. Beast Feastables to transform its creamy peanut butter cups into a soda-flavored sparkling water. The limited edition drink combines chocolate and peanut butter flavors, and what the brand describes as a chocolate peanut butter shake with bubbles. Despite the name, each 12-ounce can contains just 10 calories, 3 grams of sugar, and no actual nuts. So peanut butter sparkling water, take it or leave it.
I mean, I'll be honest.
Okay.
That sounds like a lot, but The chocolate peanut butter combo is about as good a combo as we got going in the game.
It is.
Reese's has never made a bad product.
Never. I love Reese's.
So, and you go we had this conversation.
Yeah.
Go to a gas station and see how many Reese's products there are.
A million.
You got king size, you got Reese's Pieces, you got peanut butter cups, you got the minis, you
white
got
chocolate ones.
white chocolate
Yeah.
inside out. Like
Yeah.
they got fast break. They got a bajillion Reese's. They still make the puffs, the
Yeah, they
cereal.
do. Yeah.
So like they got, if you plug chocolate and peanut butter in, it usually works. I'd be willing to try it. I don't
Okay.
think it'd be a daily thing for me.
I'll take it.
But I'd be willing to give it a try.
Okay, a little bit of peanut butter, sparkling water. All right, so the Baltimore Ravens signed two-time Pro Bowl wide receiver Zay Flowers to a 4-year, $140 million extension. That includes $108 million guaranteed. So it's, $108 million guaranteed. Just to add context to everybody, Chris Olave was $90 million guaranteed. So is Chris Olave contract already aging well? Take it or leave it.
I take it. I had no problem with the Olave contract. I didn't like the Kamara contract.
Yeah,
I didn't love the Juwan Johnson contract. Like there have been deals the Saints signed where I looked at it and went, not sure about that. The Olave one checks out for me. Like I realize that if you go just by the numbers and go, okay, he's 6th or 8th, depending on which metric you want to look like, around the 6th or 8th top receiver in the league. Is he that? I don't think so. But in terms of dollars and cents that you're allocating to your roster and the production that he gives you, and then what you're looking at other guys signing for, I think it was fine.
All right, so just to add a little bit more context to that, so Zay Flower now comes in at $35 million a year. That is just above Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb. So just a bunch of guys you would be like, oh, what's going on here? So buckle up for this one, everybody. A steakhouse in Florida has now caused a stir online for hosting a special dining experience where guests aren't expected to wear any clothes. So on the first Monday of every month, the Class Soiree Steakhouse is hosting a new dining experience where all customers get undressed once they reach the venue and remain the same way for their meal. So the chefs and servers, they'll still be clothed. So it costs $250 for men, $150 for women, and $300 for couples. So eating steak nude, take it or leave it.
I'm gonna leave it. This is bad. This is bad. First of all,
here, let me hear it.
Some of these steakhouses have the butter plates that are like a bajillion degrees.
Oh,
you're
sizzling.
going right to the mouth. What if we get a drip?
Ooh,
That's a
on the
problem. We got a
thighs?
problem. We got problems here. And second, there's not a lot that's going to be as unappetizing as just sitting around a bunch of nude
Naked
people. 'Cause,
people eating
let me just come up with this. I don't think everybody in that restaurant's going to be a 10. Okay?
Yeah, no,
You're
not
not
at
going to
all.
have
No.
a lot of 10s in
No.
there. So you're going to. This is not the environment that we need to be looking for food. No, that's not good. I love a steakhouse. Let's put some clothes on. And I would prefer, if we're just going to extrapolate out of this conversation,
Yes.
I'm offended by what some people wear in the steakhouse to begin with. Everybody needs to step it up a notch when we're going to eat a good dinner.
Yeah.
Look, the kiddos and I were at Waffle House on Sunday morning.
Okay.
You want to go in there looking like ragtag? I think that's
it's
great.
Waffle
It's
House.
fine. It's Waffle House.
Yeah.
If we're going to eat a steak and have a scotch and we'll have
Gotta get cleaned up.
Let's put some clothes on.
Yeah. Let's get
That's
cleaned
right.
up. So, Hunt, tell me this. How, I'm trying to understand the owner's perspective here. I guess he's trying to get a stir on social media. Like,
Yeah,
how
I mean,
are you going to
you're
get
catching some buzz?
how you get butts in
people will
seats?
go to this thinking that there's going to be a lot of hot people,
Yeah,
and they're
true.
not. They're just not. Because to quote Jerry Seinfeld, like he said that like 6% of the population is dateable. Like you're talking about 94%. You don't want any part up here.
Yeah.
Which it's a high number.
I'm just trying to understand. So once I seen this, I was like, hold on, we gotta talk about
And
this.
I mean, you got. There's just so many ways you could go with
All right,
this.
but my last question would be: are you showing up already naked, or you got your clothes in the
I
car?
don't know. I just feel
what's-
like you're going to be ordering your appetizers, and then you're sitting there with the wife, and
Get a little cold?
then someone walks by, and you look at that.
Yeah,
Well, what are you
look.
looking at that for? It's like, well, that's what we're here for, right?
Yeah.
What's the point? So this is bad. I won't be attending.
All right, so that's it for taking or leaving.
That's it for taking.
Little nude steak. For
That's a
everybody.
perfect end of the summer. It was a longer summer than we wanted.
Yes.
No baseball in June whatsoever. Bowed out in the SC tournament in May. But once that final play is made, whether it's winning the national championship in Omaha or unfortunately losing in Hoover and ending the season, you're just when's fall camp? Well, fall camp's now. We've done all we can do here. in the summer months. And finally tomorrow at 10 o'clock, we'll be able to go out there and watch LSU play some practice, a little bit of football. They won't have pads on, and we're not going to be out there for 2 hours, but we will have a report up at louisianasports.net, and we'll be talking about it tomorrow. So I am very excited that we have made it to the end of the line in the summer months. If you missed any of the show today, catch it on demand. Coaches poll is out. Talked about LSU spot and their schedule there. You can find that at Hunt on LSU. Sharif has been at Saints camp for the last week. We talked to him at 1:15. Find that at Hunt on Saints. Glenn West was with us. My thoughts on private equity. Matt will have a lot more on that coming up later today. Tyler Shuck, Tier 3 in the quarterbacks. What does that mean? We talked about it with The Athletic. Catch our show on demand wherever you find your sound. Matt's going to drive you home next on After Further Review. We're back tomorrow, same time, same place.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
First, got to tell you about Marucci. Check them out online at maruccisports.com. That's maruccisports.com. But as football season is upon us, sometimes you got kiddos in the house that still want to work on that baseball swing. Well, you can do that if you become a member at Marucci's Hitter's House. Got a youth softball player, got a youth baseball player, get a membership. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, you can go and use those great facilities at Marucci. You can work on your pitching, work on your swings. It's a great, great resource here in Baton Rouge, especially for those that want to practice baseball year-round, even as their teams are not practicing. A lot of summer ball and travel ball may be ending, but that doesn't mean you can stop working on your baseball. You can do that over at Marucci. You can take a tour of the official bat of Major League Baseball, see where it is made, see where they make 1,200 every single day. What a gem for us here in Baton Rouge to have Marucci, where they supply the best players in the world with the official bat of Major League Baseball. Join the Hitter's House. Go take a tour. It's all there at Marucci.